And today's game day game plan, the Jags and Patriots will play Sunday for the AFC Championship. The Patriots, hard to believe, looking to reach their third Super Bowl in the last 4 seasons. The Jaguars have never been to the Super Bowl, but hope to use a strong defense and running game to upset the Patriots in New England, which is where we find Diana Rossini. Diana, good afternoon.
Hey, Wendy, how you doing today? You know, we've been talking about it all day here on ESPN about how these two teams, they practiced together during the August preseason, 3 practices. They also played against each other in preseason game number 1. And head coach Bill Belichick will tell you that film's not very useful because it was 5 months ago. So much has changed, but that's not entirely the truth because the Patriots are using that film to take a look at those isolated shots of those one-on-ones between the wide receivers and the DBs. They're taking a close look at the pass rush, and I'm told that the Patriots actually did a lot of work on the Jags when they practiced here in Foxborough, not because they actually thought that they would play the Jags in the AFC Championship, but because they wanted the intel, the information, because we know how much the Patriots love to take one team's perhaps trash and turn it into their treasure. So they have plenty of intel there. And of course, Tom Brady well aware that he's going to be getting lots of pressure from this Jaguars defense. And he also knows that the hype, that meaning the hype involving the media, begins today. He says it's important for them to sound that out. Now, today he's expected to speak to the media as well as tomorrow. Today we're also going to hear from Coach Belichick, Devin McCourty, Rob Gronkowski, and Matthew Slater. We're going to bring that Tom Brady press conference live to you right here on NFL Live.
Diana, thank you. And you mentioned that pressure that Tom Brady is likely to see. He better, at least if you're in Jacksonville, Bill, or it'll be a long afternoon. But let's start our game plan from the Patriots' perspective. I'll start with you on their offensive game plan of attack.
Well, their game plan changes slightly from week to week based on what they emphasize and the way they see the matchups. The key matchups for the Jaguars are on the outside with their corners. They think their corners can handle the wide receivers of the Patriots. So if that's the case, then they can double Gronk, which is not good for the Patriots. So the Pats have to challenge the corners outside early with go routes, with comebacks, with certain routes that trouble them, hence going back to the one-on-one film from the summertime. If they can't challenge them outside, if the Jags can win that battle, now Gronk becomes the key figure, as he always is. So they got to get Gronk going, and they have to anticipate double teams on Gronk, so they're going to have to create space for Gronk against those double teams. Look for rubs, and therein comes the running backs. Burkhead being back is a big thing because you're going to have protection from the running back, but you also have to have him involved in the passing game. So Burkhead's being back is a big plus, and ultimately I think the game comes down to, as it did last year in the Super Bowl, against the same concept defensively, what do the running backs do?
The running game, which is interesting. We'll talk defensive game plan in just a minute, but we go back to Steve Young. And Steve, I'll just ask you your confidence level in Tom Brady going up against this Jaguars defense.
Yeah, confidence level in Tom Brady. I mean, come on.
It almost sounds silly.
Look, but we all know that when Tom Brady gets knocked around by 4 guys, it's trouble. So that's number 1. Can Jacksonville bring 4 guys and knock Tom Brady around? That makes it a game immediately. If that doesn't happen, they still can get some pressure. I think Bill Polian has it. It's going to be an inside-the-numbers game. It's going to be backs and tight end. And I think that in the end, if Tom Brady is 25 of 30 or 28 of 32, I mean, it's like an 80% completion day, and 22 of them go to backs or tight ends, and they're very efficient, and they get the ball in the end zone like Tom has a way of doing, everything will be fine. But if somehow that kind of doesn't get done, and they have to start to heave it upfield and try to come back, those are the things you don't want to get in a jam with the Jacksonville Jaguars, that you have to do it outside the numbers, because I don't think that and the New England Patriots are ready to do that. So again, knock down Tom Brady, everybody knows that. No one needs to hear from me on that one. But the rest of it is inside the numbers. If they're efficient, they'll be in pretty good shape.
It makes a lot of sense. And you're right. Everyone does know it, but it's so difficult to do. That's the problem. It's the execution. Therein lies the rub. Let's talk about the Patriots and what they have to do defensively, Damian.
So we know one thing that the Patriots do, they try to make you play left-handed. And what I mean by that, they want to take away what you do best as an opponent. And the thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars do well is they run the football. New England's weakness on their defense is know this. Everyone in the league basically knows this. So look for the Patriots to try to shore that aspect of the defense and try to make the Jaguars play to the Patriots' strength on defense, which is their secondary. Make Blake Bortles go one-on-one against the Patriots secondary and see if he can make those plays to win the game.
And you just don't know. We've seen him make them, Steve Young. We've seen situations where he certainly does not make them. What's your confidence level with Blake Bortles?
I put a 5 because if you took the body of work of Blake Bortles as a one game in a divisional playoff game on the road in Pittsburgh, and that's all you looked at, he looks like a seasoned quarterback. He looks like a guy that's not overwhelmed by the moment. He looks like a guy that can make the throws. And so you say to yourself, if he gets in that spot again in New England, and they ask him to do the things and he can respond, and look what he did in that game. They had to keep coming back. It was 28-21. There was 35. It was 42. Those are big time, not comebacks, but extending leads on the road in playoff games. So to me, I give it a 5. I would give it a 2. If not for the fact that he continues to show these glimpses of an ability to do stuff that's, I'm not going to say elite because everyone will freak out, the internet will blow up, but who else does that in a big playoff game on the road in a divisional round? And so you have to say, can he do that in New England? He just did it. So it's no reason why he can't do it here.
It's so true. It's really that lack of consistency that sort of makes you want to pull your hair out with Blake Bortles, I would think, certainly if you were on that staff, because we've seen these glimpses like, wow. And then there's been plenty of times where we have not seen that, Damian. So if you're the Jags offensively, what do you have to do?
Well, you got to stay true to your identity. And what has been the Jacksonville Jaguars' identity? Running the football. They want to control the line of scrimmage, control the clock. Time of possession is going to be big for them because they want to shorten the game, especially when you're going against an offense like New England Patriots.
Out of Tom Brady,
and I'm going to even include Blake Bortles as far as running because, as we've seen, he's able to make plays with his leg. So when the opportunities presents itself, not only with Leonard Fournette, Chris Ivory, but for Blake Bortles, when there's opportunity to play, Patriots playing, what they call that two-man where everyone's backs is turned, being able to make those critical plays and get outside the pocket and keep moving the chains. That's going to be critical for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Patrick Chung is going to be in the box, zone read. Could be big for them.
Could be. 2 weeks ago, Bortles had more rushing yards than passing yards. Now, that is not a recipe for success, but it did happen. That's when I called it Blake Vic. Yeah. Blake Vic. All right, how about this Jaguars defense, Bill?
Well, the one person who was not there for the Jaguars in August when they played the Patriots is Marcel Darius. And the one thing, as Steve said earlier, that bothers the Patriots is four-man rush, inside pressure. Marcel Darius can do that. And if you can knock Tom Brady off his spot and disrupt the timing of the passing game, you've got yourself a chance to beat the Patriots and a good chance and to keep the game close. So they have to do that first. And then the other thing is stop Gronk. Pittsburgh stopped him for 3 quarters and then inexplicably decided to give him free releases and cover him with a safety. Guess what? They lost the game.
So here's a good idea. Just rattle Tom Brady and shut down Gronk. You'll be fine.
You'll be in the game.
You'll be in the game. It's really that simple.
You'll be in the game.
Good luck, but it's a good idea.